Okay, so now we're ready to go. Now we're ready to go. Welcome to Escaping the Echo Chamber. And it still seems kind of low. Um, let's adjust the volume. Hello, testing, testing, testing. Okay, so yeah, it's it's official. I was wrong, and Derek Chauvin has been convicted on all counts. I didn't think that was going to happen. I didn't think that. I just thought there was enough. The defense was going to create enough doubt in the jurors' minds in order to um, result in a not guilty verdict. You see, one of the main things and one of the main reasons I believe that this has been happening is because people have been conditioned. And so long before they set foot in a jury box, there's been a constant stream of propaganda and just misinformation, disinformation to convince people that police, the law is good, the government is good, and whatever the government says is goes. Like it creates this impression in people's minds that, well, cops can't be the bad guy. Cop has to be the good guy. And that's just one of the reasons why I think there's oftentimes these verdicts are ending up in not guilty. Other times I think it's a matter of prosecutors who may not actually be motivated to try their hardest. However, in this case, there was stakes. There were serious stakes. We saw the chaos that erupted last year, and had the verdict been not guilty, had he been acquitted, especially had he been acquitted on all charges, um, it would be so. I mean, like things would be ugly right now. Things would be so ugly already. The sun's like I'm in here in New York. Sun's still out, but things would have already started just getting very, very ugly. Um, so the good thing is, and so yeah, it is a good thing for that reason that yeah, it's a very good thing that the verdict was not was guilty, and we have dodged that bullet. So, like, even though I don't necessarily feel that, hold on one moment. Okay, so it's like all of a sudden on the live stream, people want to call you on the phone, like all of a sudden, and then they want to keep calling and be annoying. Um, give me a moment. Okay, so now that I mean, yeah, it's a very good thing that the trial is over, that the verdict was guilty, because had the verdict been not guilty, things would be ugly right now. Things would be really, really bad, and I mean, a lot of people would get hurt. Um, Businesses like so as from people physically would be hurt. Um, there might actually be some deaths because some people would use this as an excuse to do harm that they want to do anyway. Some people would just see this, okay, it's an opportunity, chaos is breaking out. Like, yeah, there's some people that are that have that mentality that, okay, um, an opportunity presents itself to wreak havoc. I'm in. I'm down for whatever. Of course, businesses. So I mean, we already had so many businesses suffering, and when I'm talking about businesses, people think, oh, you value capital over life. Not like people's lives go into a business. So people's and people's money comes from their work, their labor, time, just so much time, energy, emotion that they've put into a business. And the purpose of the business is so that they can provide for the family. So when you see a person's business being torn down, it's not just a structure. It's not just a brick and mortar. It's like, if you've ever seen or heard of victim impact classes, in victim impact, they will talk about certain things, the intangibles. So when a person breaks into somebody's house, even if they don't steal anything, just breaking into somebody else's house is somewhat of a violation, because the person now feels in what was an area where they felt safe, they don't feel safe. They feel like they don't. Yeah, you've robbed them of something other than just material stuff, material goods and material items. And that's the things I'm looking at when people's businesses are being destroyed, being torn apart. It's like this has a very real effect on people's lives, past the footage of seeing a business with the windows busted and all of the shelves or whatever just tossed over. Like, this is a very real effect on people's lives. But the crew doesn't stick around for that. The news crew gets the sexy part, the violence, the action, the buildings on fire, and then they move on to the next story. Meanwhile, people's lives are in shambles, and people have to try to rebuild, or maybe they just aren't able to rebuild. Maybe they can't recover from it, and now you've worsened somebody's life. Um, it's Yeah. So I mean, I'm glad that that bullet has been dodged. But let's take a look at it. I mean, if you look at the video I did predicting the acquittal, and thinking and explaining why I thought it would be acquittal, I listed a bunch of people that have been killed by cops, and the cops have either, in most of those cases, like 11 of those cases, just not even convicted. In some cases, not charged. Um, and then in two cases, even though convictions were achieved, one guy did no prison time, the other guy did 11 months. And so and then we still have these incidences continuing to happen. And if you look at somebody, there are people who will make defenses um, for bad police behavior, and their defense will be, uh, okay, well, police, or this person was doing something bad, or this person should have just listened, this person should have just complied, or this person had a record or whatever. And it's like, okay, that you're number one, you're deflecting from the fact that these people are supposed to be handling things in a certain way. They're not doing it. They're going above and beyond. And people say, well, they're human. Yes, you're right. They are human. That's the problem. That's why you shouldn't be giving so much power over other people to humans. You should have all the power you need over yourself, all of your power over yourself. You should not have that much power over other people. Not involuntary. The other people choose to voluntarily say, hey, I want you. That's a different story. But what we have here is not voluntary. We've got men and women with guns enforcing the will of a political class. And that's what keeps being missed because the media isn't talking about it. The media doesn't want to talk about it. They don't want to acknowledge that the these cops, they're the foot soldiers. Who's giving the orders? Who's giving the orders? Because the same people giving the orders are the people that um, these media pundits and so-called journalists want to get on their show to give interviews. So they're not going to blow up the spot. They're because media is the fourth branch of government anyway. But I look at the incidences of the past, and so here's another thing. People will say, okay, well, let's take a look at the murders. It's a small number compared to whatever, compared to other crime. It's a small number. There's more white people murdered, and I'm like, you're missing the point. If all the only thing you think is bad is when police murder somebody, that's above and beyond the murder. But there's all types of police brutality, police corruption, police excessive force, overstepping their authority, harassment, just all kinds of and we see that constantly. And okay, like we saw it with Lieutenant Nazario, cop who was overstepped, and we wouldn't have heard about that. It would have just would have just happened had Lieutenant Nazario not went to the wall with it, because he was like, the cop tried to get him, tried to threaten him, tried to blackmail him and tried to extort him into not filing a complaint against him, into not pursuing action against the cops' inappropriate actions. He tried, but Nazario says, "Okay." And if you look at that video, at the end of the video, he's just sitting there. He's got his hands cuffed. He's got his head down, and the cop is running his spiel, trying to run his game. And Nazario is, you can see in his mind, he's like, I'm coming for you. Like, nah, like this ain't over. I'm coming for you. And he did. Filed the lawsuit in federal court, and that's when we saw the video. That's when action was taken. But the crazy thing is that people, especially, listen, Black people have been talking about cops' bad behavior for, I'm going to say decades, because that's how long I've been around to see it. But it's been even longer than way longer than I've been alive. It's just been constant. And people were like, "Oh no, the cops wouldn't do that. You're lying. These criminals and thugs, they're lying. They're just trying to get out of it and weasel out of their charges." And now we get to see it on videotape, because now we've got these. Everybody's running around with the camera now. And so now everybody can see that, oh wow, this stuff is really happening. This stuff has been really happening. And now cops are like trying to, corral their behavior, because they got to make sure nobody's watching. They got to make sure their body cameras is off before they get down to business as usual. But that's the thing. If you're only talking about deaths, you're missing the point. And perfect case and example. I'm seeing, and I haven't even looked into it further, but I saw the video on Twitter of the young Black boys on bikes, the bikes being taken by the police, and one of them being arrested. You scumbag, like, you absolute scumbags. All of those cops, I'm calling absolute fucking scumbags. And you know who else is scumbags? If they're actually enforcing a law that exists, fuck the politicians that wrote the law. The politicians that wrote the law are fucking pieces of shit. Fuck those politicians. But that's where we really have to start focusing our energy. These scumbag politicians who are sending the cops to do this stupid shit. That's where the attention needs to be. That's where a bunch of the attention We can still deal with the cops too, but don't stop giving these politicians the free reign. The fact that they like these are kids trying to just enjoy their lives, trying to have fun. And so you're going out of your way to just harass them, and so you're trying to drive them to criminality. It's absurd. So yeah, I just wanted to do a brief stream. Um, yeah, I mean it's. I'm glad he's convicted. I'm glad we've avoided chaos and riots. I didn't want to see that. That wasn't going to be good for anybody. Uh, but it's not over. I mean, you still have the Kim Potter case, and that's just one case. You still have the Nazario federal case, and that's just one case. There's so much work that needs to be done, but we need to be paying attention to who's sending these cops. Stop just looking at the cops, because these politicians keep trying to put the focus on the cops because they don't want you looking at them. That's why they were so pissed at the January 6th incident. The January 6th incident brought the drama right where it needed to be, at their fucking doorstep, because they're the ones that are responsible. They're the ones that have wreaked havoc, on all of our lives, especially over the past year. Especially over the past year, they have done untold damage to lives all over this country. And that's where the focus needs to be. Like, there need to be marches, nonviolent marches. I'm not saying hurt these people. Do, in fact, I'm explicitly saying do not, because for many reasons. One, I am committed at this point to nonviolence and to advocating for nonviolence. And two, it doesn't end well. The same reason why I was saying we don't need riots happening, because it doesn't end well. They're prepared for that. They actually want that, so that then they can respond with greater force. They want us to get froggy, and so that they can respond with supreme, like with untold amounts of force that will shock and surprise people. Don't give them what they want. But we need to keep the focus where it needs to be, and we can't let the people who are responsible for this shift the focus on the foot soldiers. The foot soldiers are following orders. Who's giving the orders? Thank you for checking out this short stream, and hope you have a great evening. Thank you for checking out. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.